you had a story about politics and sports and stuff as well with the
Yes.
water polo match, right?
Something about an athlete overcoming a dictatorship country. Um, this is really not well known, but honestly, you can make a movie on it. It's just, I mean, it's like Miracle on Ice, like where the Americans overcome the Russians, or the underdogs of the story. Uh, this was Hungary versus Russia in the water polo match, except with a way better narrative behind it, a way better like political history to go with it, and current events at the time happening. It was a fight between nations.
It's just water polo.
It was just water polo, so you're never gonna see a movie.
I don't even know how to play water polo.
You're in a pool, you're swimming around, you're throwing a ball. You can look it up if you want. But what's really interesting is the political landscape around it. So this is 1950s. So the Soviet Union is occupying Hungary right now. And they have a one-party rule. They've implemented communism, and they've removed the Hungarian leader, whose name was Emir Nagy. I don't actually know. It's Nagy, but I don't think that's how you pronounce it. I don't think it's Nagy.
Nagy.
Yeah, but I'm gonna call him Nagy because what happens next works for that.
Sure.
You'll see what I mean in just a moment. Essentially, so 1956. Olympics are happening, and first of all, 1952, Hungary has won, so they're the team to beat at this point.
Okay.
But between 1952 and the 1956 Olympics, there's been Hungarian revolts against their Soviet occupation. So with all these revolts happening, the Soviet Union's first, fix for it is to bring back Emir Nagy into power, to appease them, give them a familiar face. So Emir Nagy gets back into power, and he does some great stuff with it. He demands that the Soviet pull their military out of Hungary because revolts were happening. They were ready to suppress anything, but just to calm everything down, roll back the tanks, bring them back to Russia, take the military out of Hungary. Soviets oblige. It's looking good. Then Emir Nagy makes another request. And it's not actually much of a request. Essentially, he seeks to abolish the one-party rule. So he's looking to bring back democratic.
So just not communism.
Not communism.
At all.
So this was a problem.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, he also announced that Hungary would be pulling out of the Warsaw Pact. The Warsaw Pact would be Soviet Union's version of NATO.
Yeah, again, basically, like, the only other thing that makes a country communist at that point is, like, the one-party system and the Warsaw Pact.
Exactly. So after these two announcements, Soviet Union's had enough. They send the tanks in. And Emir Nagy gets on TV and makes this 35-second broadcast and says, our troops are fighting. They're trying to hold them off. And then he flees to Budapest to wait it out. He's later caught, and he's executed 2 years later, unfortunately.
Damn, just for like treason against communism kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I assume so.
Fair. I mean, it's Stalin. You didn't really need a reason to get executed at that point.
Yeah. I think pulling out of the Warsaw Pact was the final straw for him. So that's the way it went. So that all happens in 1956, and during this revolt, where the Soviets come back, bring their army back in, you have 2,500 Hungarians die. And then you have 200,000 that flee the country totally.
Damn.
Yeah, so this is a big loss.
Wait, sorry, how many died?
2,500. 2,500.
Okay. Yeah. So.
And then.
Damn. Okay, not to compare it to like more modern events, but like basically just less than like 9/11. Like 9/11 was like 3,000 people, 3,300 people.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Hard to compare though, right?
For sure. Yeah, it's not the same thing at all. I just mean to make it more of a.
And then 200,000 flee the country. They completely abandon it. And all these Hungarians are pissed off at the United States because the United States has been going on TV and saying we need to help these Hungarians and making a lot of nice speeches. But the intervention that they promised, they did not deliver on that day. Anyway, so this is the political landscape we have. Moving on to the 1956 Summer Olympics. It's the semifinals. It's Hungary versus Russia. And there's thousands of Hungarian supporters in the stands, and the international committee too.
Yeah.
International community too. But thousands of Hungarian supporters in the stands. This is their sport. This is where they win gold. And so they get up 4-0,
Mm-hmm.
and there's minutes left in the game. So it looks like they've won. Everything's going great. This is a hard-fought game, by the way, obviously.
Yeah.
And it gets a little out of hand when a Soviet player headbutts a Hungarian player. And an American spectator said he witnessed it, and it was clear there was no intention to harm.
I was just about to say, does it look intentional? Is there footage of this, or?
Well, the Hungarian player goes down into the water. He rises back up, and he's cut over his eye, and blood is pouring from this. And it's going into the water, so you see the red, and all these spectators see this,
Mm-hmm.
and they start seeing red too. And the players absolutely lose it. It becomes an all-out fist fight between the Russian and Hungarian players. These are guys, by the way, in a pool that's like a deep pool. So like there's danger here because like they could drown each other.
Easily drown.
They're having a fist fight in water. So chaos is happening in the pool, but security doesn't have time to deal with that. That's the ref's job, which by the way, there's only like 1 or 2 refs.
Good. That's what you need.
Against the whole team. So they're really not doing anything, right? But the spectators are the problem. Because thousands of these Hungarians see the blood in the water, and it's chaos. It's an uproar. So security tries to hold them off from like jumping in the pool and tearing apart these Russian
trying
players.
to rush it, obviously, yeah.
And they hold them off enough so that the police get there. They go in full riot squad gear,
Mm-hmm.
and they disperse the crowd. And the entire time, this pool is just an all-out brawl still. And they don't stop brawling until the entire police force surrounds the pool, like every inch, just so they can't escape anywhere. And then, everyone's like, okay.
Like, there's nothing you can literally do at that point.
Yeah.
So
I obviously, the fight's the big part of this story, but you might be wondering, what do you do in this situation when a match hasn't been finished?
Mm-hmm.
The Soviet Union requests a rematch. They're denied.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Let's put him back in a pool.
And this is the International Olympic Committee.
Yeah.
They're trying to negotiate tensions between countries that have sport.
Mm-hmm.
So with the semifinal match unfinished, but the Hungarian team being up 4 points, they give the Hungarians the gold. And Yugoslavia, who won their semifinal match in the other
Mm-hmm.
pool, gets silver, and then the Russians are left with bronze. So it's a nice wrap up because it's a huge triumph for the Hungarians.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is they were waving their national flag the whole time against the wishes of their country's leaders. They didn't want them to fly their independent Hungarian flag because they were still occupied by the Soviets.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could only fly the flag of the Soviet Union pretty much.
Yeah. So the athletes made this decision to proclaim their nationalism, leave it all out there on the pool. And when things got rough, they did not back down.
Obviously, there's nothing like that now, but that is ballsy.
Right.
To just I don't know how big a water polo team is, even if it's like 12 guys or something. To have 12 guys in a country of like millions of people to just choose to just do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And a fight in a pool, you would think maybe a little silly, but these guys are athletes.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy to drown someone. Anyway, no one was really hurt too bad. So it was really just a triumph for the Hungarians, and that's the end of the story.
Wow. Well, again, like kind of not exactly the most satisfying ending, seeing as they don't have like the big triumphant finish after that. I mean, Soviet Union falls and stuff.
They were beating them in the game, and then they got to kick their ass.
Yeah.
So what more could you ask for?
Yeah.
They got the gold. To me, it's a nice wrap up.